Hey everyone, Caront here, welcoming you back to Suikoden 5. In the last episode, we started this adventure by learning about our companions, by going to the city of Solfolena, at least for a little bit, by meeting with the leader of the Queen's Knights, Farid, who is Freodor's father, and with Queen Arshtot, who pressed us to talk about our trip to Lordlake. In this episode, we'll explore Lordlake, so essentially we're in flashback. As far as the town itself goes, there's not really a whole lot to see here. You've got these little areas here, those are shops. This is the item shop, which unfortunately seems to be out of pretty much everything, as you can tell. Then we've got the armor shop there, which also doesn't have anything. You can pretty easily get the idea of what's going on here. We weren't trying to revolt, nothing of the kind. Everybody essentially, well, is despondent. Because the town, as you can see, of course, from the barrenness of it, the town is a wreck. It's been not destroyed exactly, but it's certainly been laid bare. Alright, if we talk to this gentleman here, yeah, he's someone we're going to be dealing with later. Go ahead. Look at what our glorious queen did to us. Does this look like justice to you? Yeah, well, I can't say I would figure on that case. Let's see. Alright. Now, I do have to wonder, given the time frames that you guys will find out about later, how this town has managed to hold itself together as well as it has. Because for what it has, the people of Lordlake have done really well. And then the queen won't let any doctors come here. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, there is a doctor who we can go talk to if we come in here. It's hot. It's so hot. My tummy hurts. Are you alright? Hey, wake up. Talk to me, talk to me. A doctor? But I thought... Royals, huh? Don't tell me you came all the way out here just to shut me down. Oh, right. You're the Royal Inspection Party. Well, how do you like it? Enjoying all that scorched earth? Huh. Well, I mean, it is some welcome, but I'm going to be more polite on this one, I think. Who are you? Oh, come on. Just because these people never have... Just because these people never see a doctor doesn't mean you never have. Now, either arrest me or get the hell out. Did we do something wrong? You mean, besides all this? You're upsetting my patients. Think they're happy to see you? They're weak enough as it is, and your being here is not helping. I see. Alright then. Let's go. Sorry to bother you, miss. Just forget it. Yeah, we'll meet her later too. Don't worry. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our way through the town. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to see. I don't think you're a... Okay, yeah, you're just an NPC. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and move through here. And we get another scene. What is this? Some kind of road? Well, the fact that there are desiccated boats sitting there should pretty well give away the answer. No, not unless they sail down roads around here. This used to be a canal, filled with beautiful, sparkling water. And it dried up so fast they didn't even have the time to move their boats? Man. Yep, all the water in Lordlake got dried up, except those few little disease-ridden puddles that they were talking about earlier. Okay, so now that we're on this side of town, well, one of the sides of town that we can get to, all we really need to do now is just go down this way toward the bottom, and there's a couple of treasures we can pick up around here before we, well, I think there's one before we go into our main objective here. Let's see, where are you hiding, treasure? There you are. We pick up an escape scroll, which is useful primarily for getting out of dungeons. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, why hasn't he introduced anybody in the party yet? Don't worry, I will. I just want to finish up events over here in Lord Rovers Mansion. Once we start getting into the action, then I'll introduce the party members and we'll talk about them accordingly.
How horrible!
So tragic. To see something so magnificent reduced to this.
What's this?
It's Rovers Mansion. Rovers used to be the lord of this region.
Huh. I've heard that name before. That's right. He and his entire family were executed, weren't they?
We can only really move the story forward if we choose to go in, so let's go ahead and do that.
All right.
Alright, so as we head into Rovers Mansion, we've got a treasure that we can pick up, I believe, after we go through here. Yeah, here we go. We can pick up, if I can get to it. If I can get to it. Medicine, which is your basic healing item. We'll see regular medicines and we'll eventually see mega medicines, but your regular medicines are your basic healing item. You will be collecting a lot of them as we go through here. Go out this entrance here, and we'll get another scene as we go to the end of the dock.
Unbelievable. This is even worse than the rumors.
That used to be a lake. The water was so clear you could even see the fish on the bottom. There were so many ducks and geese, too. And over there was a deep forest. We were just kids the last time we were here, so we wanted to go explore it, of course. But just as the prince and I were about to set out, his attendant stopped us. Farad yelled at us later, remember? You're not supposed to let them catch you, he told us.
Yeah, sounds like Farad.
Lord Rovers said the same thing and laughed. What in the world could have happened here?
Unfortunately, this town has indeed felt Arstad's wrath.
What's that about?
Huh? Is something wrong?
They seem to be panicked about something. Let's go check it out.
Well, first, I want to... Let's see, can I sneak over? Yeah, there we go. Sneak over here and grab this. Sacrificial Jizo! Which, if you have in your party equipment, or in your personal equipment, can bring you back from the dead if you happen to fall apart. I'm going to go ahead and equip that on the Prince because why not? He's got an empty slot anyway. Some of these other items, let me go ahead and show them off real quick. You've got, obviously, your medicines. Defense Ring increases defense by 1, which we will outstrip that soon, but at least for now, keep it on him. Flaming Arrows is a set of scrolls that you can use, as it says, to cast the Flaming Arrows spell on enemies. With Leon, you've got Antitoxins, which cure poison and venom. It's a good idea to have at least a couple of stacks of Antitoxin in your inventory at all times. Clay Guardian casts defensive protection on everybody and helps you immensely. It's also good to have that as well. The text says it casts it on enemies. No, you use it for yourself. George has his beloved cheesecake, which I love that. Well, first off, you probably heard my girlish scream, squee, I guess, whenever they mentioned George the first time in the last episode. This is where I first met George Prime, and then I saw him in Suikoden 2 and completely freaked out. If you haven't seen that episode, you can find it easily enough. But yeah, I completely just had a cow when I saw George in Suikoden 2. This is why, because I first encountered him in this game. He has his beloved cheesecake as always. George, if he has any faults, has a sweet tooth. And he also has Thunder Runner, which casts that on enemies, pretty self-explanatory. Siledes has Wind of Sleet, which is a scroll set that casts, Wind of Sleet. It's worth noting that virtually all of these scroll attacks you can get later through runes, so I wouldn't say go out of your way to collect scrolls necessarily, but if you get them, might as well use them, or might as well at least have them ready to go if you need them. Alright, so what we gotta do, as you might have noticed from what it was portraying earlier, is we gotta go ahead and leave Rovers Mansion, and then make our way up to the north a little bit where those two guys are arguing, because, we are on an inspection tour, but we do want to try to make things better for Lordlake, I would expect. Especially since the party has expressed their horror about how terrible everything is. Okay. I think I actually need to go this way to get to the pier. Yeah, there it is, okay. So I need to go over here, and then we'll find the arguing gentlemen and see what in the world they're arguing about. Look, I'm going, and that's that. No! I said no, gosh! What's going on? Is something wrong? Keep moving, guys. It's not your problem. Gosh! It's one of the children. He left for the forest watering hole and hasn't come back. It's dangerous. There are beasts out there. We told him to stay away, but he just wouldn't listen. Hey, it's not the kid's fault. He was just looking for a little clean water. His friends needed it. I'm going to go look for him. Don't try to stop me, Tallgill. I said no! Have you seen those beasts these days? They'll devour you. You're not going. So, what are you saying? We just leave Toma out there to die? That's not what I'm saying! Could you wait here, Prince? I want to go look for the boy. You? I can't let you do that. I'm gonna have the fun too. Huh? But what about the boy? He's right, Leon. You're supposed to be his bodyguard after all. Where he goes, you go. So come on, Friador, let's go. Okay. Just a moment. We can't let you do this. It would be too... Yeah, this has nothing to do with you guys. Now, if you'll excuse me. Excuse me? Does it really matter who saves the child from certain death? Trust me, we can handle this. We do this sort of thing for a living. Very well then. Tallgill, what are you... Good luck, and thank you. Bah! Humbug? Alright, so we've got our first, basically our first real task of the game, which is to go south into what they ever so lovingly call the Withered Forest, and see about rescuing Toma. As we make our way over here, this will take us basically to our first battleground of the game. And at this point, I'll go ahead and introduce our characters, and we can take a look and see what we have. Now, the first I'm going to start with is the prince himself, Friador. Friador is obviously the game's protagonist, and has good stats in just about everything. He is intended to be a very well-rounded protagonist, and it's pretty clear, not just in his stats as they grow, but also in his affinities as well. His rune affinity, of course, his best affinity is with the Sun rune, which is the focus of all of this. But he also has great affinities with all of the other elemental runes as well, which makes him a pretty good magic user all in all. He's also a pretty good attacker. About the only thing that Friador can't really do is straight out tank. He can't be a frontline warrior particularly, because he is a little fragile. But other than that, Friador is a great protagonist. He can do just about anything. He's most often been compared to Ryu from Suikoden 2, and in many ways for good reason. Leon, of course, is the prince's bodyguard, and her rune affinities are virtually the same as the prince's. Her stats are also very good. She's not quite on the same level as the prince as a lot of them, but she serves as an excellent bodyguard. Both of them are medium-type fighters, which you might notice as you look at the range bit there. And so, essentially, they both serve in that same capacity. Leon is the prince's bodyguard, the prince, of course, is himself, but both of them are capable fighters in the medium range, and they will be capable really throughout this adventure. George Prime is, well, George effing Prime. I mean, what else is there to say about the guy? He is incredibly strong. He is very capable in terms of attack and defense. He also starts out the adventure at level 20, which gives him a little bit of an advantage. He comes equipped with the Killer Rune, which is an increased critical chance and a 10% chance of immediately just completely destroying your opponent, which is great. He also has Combat Teacher as an ability, which means that you can basically train your characters up in combat skills whenever he is in your party. You don't have to be at an HQ or in a town to do that. The only real downside to George Prime, as we will see as we go through the adventure, his magic is awful. His magic defense is even worse. He has the worst magic defense in the game, which, oh boy. So, if he gets hit with a magic spell, he's taking the full brunt of it. But if he gets hit with physical attacks, he can tank them all day long. Saya Leeds is your magician. She is a long-range fighter, so you better stick her in the back row. Of course, with that, she is very capable with magic, and her affinities essentially spell that out. She's bad with the Fire Rune, but that's fitting considering that she comes packed with the Wind Rune. Her Wind Rune attacks will be very good as we go through the game, particularly as we get some more levels on her and as we unlock some other of her later rune abilities. She is very much a magician though, and pretty much a squishy mage, so keep her in the back row, please. Alright, so now that we've profiled the characters themselves, let's take a look at a couple of other things real quick. We've got the runes, of course, which the only two people with runes right now are George with the Killer Rune and Saya Leeds with the Wind Rune. She just has the level 1 Wind of Sleep right now, which is not particularly useful. Once we start unlocking level 2s with Healing Wind, then she'll start to really become useful as a magic caster. For now, she's just going to be in the back row, and we're going to have her doing physical attacks, at least until we can get her that first level 2 magic use. Another thing that we have is the skills, which you can actually change them around. The basic skills are both attack and magic. Essentially all of the original stats you can boost up depending on what techniques or what skills you equip, all the way from stamina through attack and defense to agility. Then you've also got magic as well. Magic, magic defense, and incantation, pretty much everybody will come with. Sword of Magic is only for certain characters, and for the most part I'm not really going to worry about Sword of Magic, with the exception of one character in particular who it would very much behoove you, if you want to maximize your damage output, to invest a lot of energy in Sword of Magic, along with a couple of others. As we go through the game, we'll be getting what are called epic skills, which will increase more than one stat at a time. The best of them can increase every single stat, period. As you can imagine, not very many people can equip that skill, but we'll come to that in time. Alright, next up, let's take a look real quick at the formation, which we only have one formation right now, which is standard, but we will get a lot of others as we go through the game. And those formations, ultimately, you can do a various number of things with them. The standard formation is, well, as it describes itself, basic. No benefits, no detriments, it's just pretty much what it is. Other formations will give certain stat bonuses and detriments, or certain abilities, as you go through the game with them, and we'll be changing formations on a fairly regular basis as we go along. One thing I will warn you about in regards to the formations and such is pretty much whenever anybody officially leaves your party, if you're going into a battle portion or think you're going into a battle portion, it would behoove you to come in here and reposition. I can't count how many times I've gone through, in test runs or otherwise, and have had party members come and go out of my party, and then I go into a battle and my formation is so completely screwed over. Yeah, it's bad. So be sure to look and rearrange and reposition your formations on a regular basis. As it stands right now, this is pretty good, so we're not really going to worry about it. One last thing I'll mention briefly is the bit about party SP there. You notice when we had the skills menu, you've got move SP here. Every character will get SP during or at the end of each battle, and you'll also get a little bit of party SP. Your personal SP maxes out at 9,999. If you get close to that point, or if you've got characters that have SP that you don't plan to use, go ahead and move those over to Party SP, because Party SP can be used to level up skills when they don't have the personal SP to do it. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Alright, enough jibber jabber, let's go ahead and get fighting, shall we? Of course, we've got the Journeyman's Crystal there if we want to save it. I'm not going to right now. We are instead going to get into our first battle. Against a Howling Wolf, otherwise known as a Mad Dog. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just do regular kind of attacks and show off a couple things right now. I will mention, actually, speaking of showing things off, our options as far as battles are obviously attack and defend, typical. If you have runes through which you have magic, you can use those. You can also use any items that you have equipped, or you can spend a turn to take items out of your inventory, but I try to do that as little as I need to. It's best to prepare beforehand. You can also, if you have certain characters in your party, you can do co-op attacks. These in the Suikoden series have typically been called Unite attacks, but for some reason they changed it on this one. It's pretty much the same thing though. If you've played a Suikoden game, well, you know what it is. If not, they are combinations essentially of different characters to do different attacks. For instance, the Prince and Leon have Sworn Protector, which will do a lot of damage to one enemy, and then Cyleades and the Prince have Royal Power, which hits everybody with at least limited attack power. Let's go ahead and actually do Sworn Protector so we can show it off. George, well, just attack with George. Cyleades, if you want to use the Wind Rune, that's good. I'm not going to use it just yet. I'm going to save it for something coming up a little bit later, so we'll just attack with her as well. And then George kills it. Okay, that's pretty much going to be the norm for now. I probably am going to have George defend in the next battle and then keep it on camera so you guys can see that attack. Just, well, pretty much for the heck of it. Of course, after every battle, we get a certain amount of money, we get experience, we get all the SP stuff. Alright, so, let's go ahead and look for our first treasure of the adventure. With another wolf. Alright, so, I'm going to keep this one up, and I'm just going to do the co-op attack, which will likely kill it. Then George and Cyleades, you guys defend just so we can see this.
Here we go.
Ah, poor Wolfie's getting whooped up on. Okay, that didn't kill him, so... Actually, you notice a couple of other options we have here. If you want to change your formation, you can. Each formation has a formation skill, which you can use. I typically don't use them very much, but if you want to, by all means, because, I mean, they're there to benefit you. You can retreat from battle if you need to, you can bribe an enemy away if you want to, or you can hit auto and just completely auto attack them, which is what I'm going to do now, and watch George slaughter everything in sight. Yeah, for the first several battles, or really the first several levels, George is going to be your main damage dealer by far. No questions about it. Okay, so let's see. I believe we head down this way to get our treasure, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it's kind of hard to tell in this place. Okay, now it's not here. Let's see, my direction said south-southwest. Okay, well, we got our first level up for the Prince out of that, and we found our treasure kind of hiding there. Hello, medicine. Let's see. I want to go ahead and equip this. No, I want to equip it, silly. Alright, let's see. You've got some medicine, you've got medicine, you've got, well, cheesecake. And you've got medicine, so let me go ahead and give George some medicine. Not that he particularly needs it, but it's a good thing to have anyway. Alright, so we've got our first treasure. Then, let's see, we head down toward the south of the center area here. We can find another treasure with Mega Medicine. This is the second level of medicine that you can get, and it's more powerful, but you get fewer of them per stack. You notice with medicines you get 5 per stack, with Mega Medicines you get 3, so just bear that in mind. We're not really going to need the Mega Medicines right now, because the only one who has enough HP for that is George. And if George ever gets down low enough to where he needs healing at this point in the game, Alright, so now that we've gotten all the treasures out of here, what we need to do is head over here to the east. And run into new enemies, the hairballs! Okay, let's just auto these through because George will slaughter one and we should be able to take out the other, I think. Yeah, there we go. Not too hard, really. Of course, that's kind of the point. This is really...
Underestimate me.
Alright, thanks, Cyleades. This is essentially the tutorial of the game, pretty much. Okay, that citrus, I think... I'll have to check that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Citrus is a bath item, so we need to hang on to that. Although, inventory management's going to be a problem for a fair while in this game, so just bear that in mind. Look! Water! He must have come here. Looks like maybe something tried to attack him and he ran off. But why come all the way out here? Do you see any other water around? Good point. Come on, he ought to be close by.
Prince, over there!
Ulls attacking people?
What do we do? Nah, we're gonna be brave.
Prince, wait!
There he goes, rushing into things again.
Damn.
Well, that's why we brought the grown-ups, isn't it? So apparently we start our attack by hitting an Ulls right in the cojones. Alright, welcome to your first boss fight of Suikoden 5 against the Ulses! Really, this fight's not all that hard. Especially, this is a good time to go ahead and use Royal Power, which we haven't seen yet, because, well, we've got 3 enemies. Alright, Leon, go ahead and attack, and George, I want you attacking a different Ulls because, well, you'll slaughter them. Like that. Told ya! Alright, so you notice the Ulses have a couple of different attacks. One of them being sort of more of a couple of hits, and then one of them, of course, you notice the one that hit Leon was multiple attacks. So that can make for some interesting times every now and then. Okay, you notice Leon's on fire? This is what's called the Fury status effect. If her health gets down to a certain level, or if somebody else falls in battle, party members can initiate Fury status. What that means is increased attack, which, particularly in a boss fight like this, is good news. Now what I'm going to do is, as the prince, let's go ahead... Actually, never mind, let's not do that. Let's have you all attacking, and use a co-op attack with... Let's go Swarm Protector on one of them. George, you hit the other one, and Sialeeds, if we need you to heal, let's have you use one of your medicines on Leon. Just in case. Or George can hit both of them, and that's pretty much that. Like I said, George is awesome, and we get lots of levels out of it. So we all go up to level 8, and George, of course, stays in lonely little level 20. Alright, you notice the violence and boost pieces there? Those are rune pieces. You'll need 4 of them to make a rune. Just keep that in mind for later.
How strange. I don't think I've ever heard of Ulls attacking people before.
They sure looked awfully hungry.
Are you alright?
Huh? Oh,
Don't touch me! Hey, don't disrespect the prince!
So you're the prince, huh? Grandpa said you were coming, but I didn't think you'd have the guts. Don't me! How dare the Queen's family even show their faces around here? Who do you think brought all this to Lordlake anyway? Even those animals, they started attacking people because their forest is gone. They're hungry. Who knows how many people have been killed? And all of it, it's all the Queen's fault! Ugh.
I see. The people of that town still cling to that dried-up land, living out their pathetic existence.
Arstad?
Well, I'm afraid all I can say is this. It serves them right.
Your Majesty.
But Mother, how can you...
How can I, you ask? How dare you, my own flesh and blood, ask such a question? Those people committed an unpardonable sin, that's why. For generation after generation, the Rovers family of Lordlake had been our most loyal subjects. That's why for many years I had complete faith in them. That's why I looked upon them with such favor. But on that fateful day 2 years ago, they betrayed me in the worst possible way. They banded together and began a savage uprising, plunging the nation into confusion. They ravaged the East Palace and even stole the Dawn Rune. One of the 3 runes, the very symbols of the Falanan royal family. Such lawlessness, such treachery, such savage behavior. How could I possibly forgive them? And so I, Arshtot, the Queen of Falana, brought down my judgment and vengeance upon them by the will of Providence. With the power of this, the Sun Rune! So you see, no matter how much Lordlake may continue to suffer, they got exactly what they deserved.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, you have every right to be angry. But in Lordlake, the damage extends to women, children, and the elderly, people who had nothing to do with the uprising.
Yeah, Mother, that's right.
Silence! Do you dare tell me I was wrong? I do not make mistakes. The Sun Rune always lends its divine protection to the just. My path is the path of righteousness. My will is the will of heaven. To defy me is to defy the sun.
Your Majesty!
Ferid.
Your Majesty, everyone is tired from their long journey. Perhaps we should adjourn for now and let them rest.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I will hear the rest of your report later. For now, you may go and get some rest.
Her Majesty has changed, hasn't she? Yeah, I'll say. Well, what are you going to do now? Guess I better make an appearance in the guard room. Well, look at you, turning into Mr. Serious the second we get back into the capital. You know me. Sheesh. What are you two going to do? Huh, like I need to ask. You better go see your little sister. Bet she's been waiting for you. I'm tired. Nah, let's go see her. Princess Lenzlia sure loves her big brother. Better hurry over and say hello. Yeah, you two go on ahead. Your aunt here will be taking her sister's advice and getting some rest. Good idea. Little old aunties really should go easy on themselves after all. What did you say? Hey, George, get back here! Get back here right now, or I'll... Ah. Alright, so that just pretty much leaves us to ourselves, and leaves us with the ability to go explore, but we're gonna save that for next time. So next time on Suikoden 5, we are going to make our way around the Sun Palace in Solfalena, and see if we can meet our sister Lenzlia. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see y'all later.